I think a big part of the problem is that we think too small. We're focused literally on problems to the degree that we get caught in them. And we have a major crisis that I wrote about in chapter 4, which is the crisis of perception. We need to change our worldview. We need to somehow invite in a worldview that becomes more holistic, more inclusive, more innovative, and stop having these, term I actually got, I think from you, Mickey, this circular firing squads, where we're firing at each other because we have different points of view. That is not only dysfunctional, it makes us think that war is actually a problem-solving method. But it's not. It's a way of, it's like winning an earthquake. Nobody wins an earthquake. You know, it's destructive. It reduces our possibility and our potential. So what other possibilities do we have? That's what I want to speak to, and that's what a number of us begin to focus on. We each took different sections of chapter 4, which is about the emerging culture that's beginning to recognize a systems view of life, one that matches the complexity of life, and really not just locked into the old mind that's holding on to its territorial domain. You know, we talked about Brian Swim before. He mentions the dragonfly protects its territory, right? Every animal protects its territory. We become very fixated in how we think. So those fixed action patterns become our way of looking and seeing, and they become a very crisis of perception. So we have our whole social biology is really calling us to evolve, frankly. We can't solve our way out of this. We're going to have to evolve our way out of this. And that's a very different way of looking at things. So we wrote a chapter about the emerging culture. And I say the emerging culture, the best of our thinking, our collective thinking. What would that look like if we began to see that culture's tip emerging? Remember when most of us here, we did the chaos exercise in class? Where you couldn't see the underlying pattern, right? And the scientists were trying to figure this out. Remember? And yet there was a pattern, there was an order here, but we couldn't quite see the emerging reality, the reality that was waiting to be seen. And those of us in it were laughing because we could clearly see it, we're creating it. The people on the outside could not quite get it. That's us. We have this emerging reality, and we are that if we become educated, systems-oriented, begin to see with a greater complexity. So we're less trapped in by the paradoxes of life, and we become more open to really seeing more holistically. So that's what I want to speak to as we finish. So we worked on a chapter about 6 sections of good news. If we gathered the good news of the planet and talked about that, might that give us an indicator of a direction to move toward? So Gandhi suggested that most of our activism should be constructive, not resistive. Yes, we should look at the problems. We should know we're there and not step into them, right? Not add to them or be trapped by them. Why not be putting most of our activism into thinking about creating a world and constructing a world that makes